The feeding hall of Outpost 7 shook with the sounds of chaos. 12 Vryn cubs, each no taller than a human's waist, but already equipped with razor-sharp claws and teeth, swarmed around the protein dispenser like a pack of wild animals. Their fur bristled, their tails lashed, and their growls echoed off the metal walls. Kalen stood in the doorway, holding a simple metal scoop, and watched the pandemonium unfold. The Vryn were apex predators from a world where survival meant fighting for every scrap of food. Their cubs learned early that the strong ate first and the weak ate last, if they ate at all. It was instinct, coded into their very DNA over millions of years of evolution. But this was not their homeworld. This was a galactic coalition outpost, and these cubs were supposed to be learning how to live in civilized society. Commander Threxus, the Vryn officer in charge of the young ones, stood nearby with his arms crossed. His scarred face showed a mixture of frustration and resignation. "They will not listen," he said, his voice a deep rumble. "I have tried everything. Discipline, separation, punishment. Nothing works. When food appears, they become animals." Kalen nodded slowly. He had been assigned to Outpost 7 only 2 weeks ago, a human liaison meant to help bridge cultural gaps between species. Most of his colleagues thought the position was pointless. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, barely a century into space travel. What could they possibly teach races that had been navigating the stars for millennia? But Kalen had grown up with 7 younger siblings in a small farming community. He knew something about managing hungry children. "May I try?" he asked. Threxus's ears flattened against his skull, a Vryn expression of doubt. "You are welcome to attempt it, human. But I warn you, when their blood is up like this, they do not distinguish between cubs and prey." Kalen stepped forward anyway. The largest cub, Vash, had managed to shove his way to the front of the pack. He stood on his hind legs, trying to reach the dispenser controls, while 3 other cubs snapped at his tail and flanks. 2 more rolled on the floor in a biting, clawing tussle. The rest circled and snarled, looking for any opening to claim their share. Kalen didn't shout. He didn't try to pull them apart. Instead, he simply walked to the protein dispenser and stood in front of it. The cubs froze as Vash's lips pulled back from his fangs, a low growl building in his throat. The cub was young, but already dangerous. His claws could shred synthetic fabric. His bite could crack bone. Kalen met his eyes and smiled. "Hungry?" he asked. The question seemed to confuse Vash. His growl faltered. "I bet you are," Kalen continued, his voice calm and friendly. "I'm hungry too. But here's the thing, this dispenser? It's got enough food for everyone. More than enough." He held up the metal scoop. 1 scoop each. That's the rule. You get 1, she gets 1, he gets 1, everyone gets 1. Fair and simple. Vash's ears twitched. Behind him, the other cubs had gone quiet, watching this strange human with wary curiosity. "Who wants to go first?" Kalen asked. Every cub tensed, ready to lunge. "Vash," Kalen said, pointing at the big cub. "You're the strongest, right? You go first." Vash blinked. His tail, which had been lashing aggressively, slowed to a confused swish. "Come here," Kalen said, gesturing to a spot directly in front of him. Slowly, cautiously, Vash approached. His body language screamed suspicion, but he came. Kalen pressed the dispenser button and filled the scoop with protein paste. It was a perfectly measured portion, exactly the amount recommended for a growing Vryn cub. He held it out. Vash snatched it with both paws and backed away, waiting for the catch, the trick, the punishment. None came. 1 scoop, Kalen said. "See? Now who's next?" A smaller cub, a female with a notched ear, crept forward. Her movements were hesitant, her body low to the ground. In the wild, she would have been one of the last to eat. If she ate at all, Kalen filled the scoop again and handed it to her. 1 scoop for you too." Her eyes went wide. She took it and scurried away, clutching it like treasure. One by one, Kalen called the cubs forward. Each received the same measured portion, handed over with the same calm smile. No fighting required. No strength tests. No dominance displays. Just fairness. By the time the last cub received his scoop, something remarkable had happened. The feeding hall had gone quiet. 12 cubs sat in a rough semicircle, eating their portions peacefully. A few still eyed each other warily, but the frantic aggression was gone. Vash finished his portion first. He licked his paws clean, then looked up at Kalen. For a long moment, the cub simply stared. Then, slowly, his lips pulled back, not in a snarl, but in something that looked almost like a smile. Several other cubs followed suit, their expressions shifting from hostility to something softer. Commander Threxus approached, his heavy footsteps echoing in the now quiet hall. He looked at the peaceful scene before him, then at Kalen, then back at the cubs. "How?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Kalen shrugged. They weren't really fighting over food. There was plenty of food. They were fighting because they thought they had to. Because that's what they've always done. He gestured at the cubs. "I just showed them a different way." Threxus's ears swiveled forward, interest and respect. "We tried implementing feeding schedules, automated dispensers, separation protocols. Nothing worked. Because those were rules imposed from outside," Kalen said. "This is different. This is fairness they can understand. One scoop each. Everyone equal. Everyone fed. Such a simple thing," Threxus murmured. "The best solutions usually are," Kalen replied. Over the following weeks, feeding time at Outpost 7 transformed completely. The cubs learned to line up without being asked. They learned to wait their turn. They even began sharing, occasionally helping younger or weaker cubs who struggled with their portions. Vash became Kalen's unofficial helper, organizing the other cubs and ensuring everyone followed the one scoop each rule. The big cubs seemed to take pride in the responsibility, standing a little taller each day. Other VRYN officers began visiting the feeding hall to witness the miracle for themselves. Many left shaking their heads in disbelief. Some asked for Kalen's secret, hoping to replicate his success with other groups of cubs. But there was no secret, no special technique, no human magic, just a simple understanding. Fairness didn't mean everyone fighting for their share. It meant everyone knowing they would get their share. The VRYN had spent generations teaching their young that survival meant fighting, that strength was everything, that the weak didn't deserve to eat. It took a human with a metal scoop to show them something different. As Kalen watched the cubs eat their evening meal, peaceful and content, he smiled. Out here among the stars, surrounded by species older and supposedly wiser than humanity, sometimes the simplest human insights were the most revolutionary. One scoop each. Everyone equal. Everyone fed, and 12 young Growls had turned into 12 young Grins.